Big Ten basketball. I thought it was a really physical game. I thought both teams really, went at it hard, just like Tuesday's game. I liked our toughness. I thought we were really together. I thought our defensive disposition throughout the course of the 40 minutes was strong. I thought we really made an effort to rebound the ball at both ends, and those things are important to us, and our guys, did those things well. I wasn't surprised. We practiced really, really well for 2 days, and we played like we practiced. I thought some of the young guys that came off the bench collectively may have been their best game of the year, and ironically, the last 2 days were their best 2 days of practice of the year. So good lesson for them. Now, round two is over. It's an 18-round deal, and we're going to enjoy this one tonight. I always tell those guys, I felt like when I was an assistant, I made that mistake. It was always the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, and we try to, enjoy wins and then wake up the next day and take a look at the film, see what we can learn, then kind of, forget about the feeling it gave us and get mature and lock in on the next opponent. And we realize that the future is where it's at. We're a team that wants to continue to improve and get better. I think we've done that in a lot of areas throughout the course of the season, but by no means have we arrived. But again, I think at the end of the day today, I thought we were really tough. I thought we were really together, and I thought those things were, really important throughout the course of the 40 minutes. In terms of the skirmish that happened, I haven't had a chance to see the film yet. The players aren't going to address questions regarding that. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know a lot about it at this point. I saw it, did not even see it live. So stuff happens. We'll move on and get ourselves ready for Wednesday. Questions for the players?
John, I happened to get here early, and you were out shooting threes long before anybody else was in the hall. Is that something you do all the time, or just today?
I do that all the time. We got a lot of guys that just come in whenever either oven's open or here's open. So it's just kind of something that everyone does. Just gets in whenever. No, today was just kind of one of those times where it was just me, but it's not anything new.
And you were shooting pretty good.
Well, thank you. That's what I was hoping for.
John, were you pressing at all? You seemed like you just go on to the next play. But were you pressing at all when you missed 10 in a row, I guess?
No, not really. It was just one of those things. It happens. That happens in the game. I've been through that before. I've been shooting a lot through my career, so I wasn't too worried about it. Everyone, coach was on me. Just keep shooting the ball, like everyone was. So I wasn't too worried about it.
From a defensive standpoint, what was some of the keys in just shutting down or limiting Newbill and Frazier, their scoring dynamic?
You got to play the second time, Shannon.
They got two of the leading scorers in the Big Ten, so we just tried to limit their touches and do what we could do to stop them.
Ray, you've been here for 2 years now, and just talk about the toughness and how it's evolved with this team, and that TNT that Coach always talks about.
Coach has told us that since day one, just being tough and together. If you do that, we can accomplish anything. So.
John, after that happened, the incident but you guys coming together, that's part of the toughness and togetherness. What did you guys say amongst yourselves to kind of get over that and kind of propelled you to kind of put them away?
Basically just, staying together, not letting things like that, get us out of our head or anything like that. It's just, we're there for each other, no matter where we are, so we always have each other's backs no matter what is basically what we were saying.
John, talk about having the 89 team here. You guys met with them last night. What are you going to take away from those moments, and did that pump you guys up for the game a little bit?
Yeah, it did. It was great having those guys back, and last night at the dinner, getting to meet them and hearing all the stories that they have. They obviously were a team that was really together, really tough. So they had all that we're trying to be, and so it's just kind of one of those things that we see the way that they are now. What it meant to them playing this game that we're lucky enough to be playing right now. So we're just trying to take what they did, and keep growing.
John, you've been on different teams. Just how does that toughness evolve? And is that something that's just the personality of these guys, or how is that grown as a team?
Yeah, it's definitely. It depends on who you have, on the team. But the coach has been doing a great job of just getting everyone tougher. Practices are always hard. We go at each other a lot. That's just how it is. But we all love each other. So never any hard feelings. But that's just we do that in practice, so we know when we get in games like this that we're ready.
What's it like for you, a local kid, probably growing up hearing about the Fighting Illini a lot, to spend some time with those guys this weekend on campus?
I mean, it was a great moment. I mean, we talked to them about like stuff they used to do, and we're just trying to like do the same thing. I mean, just be tough and together and just never give up.
John, did you know any of the names of the Flying Illini before this year?
No, I'd actually never even heard of them, but I know. I mean, now I know, obviously, but yeah, at the time, no.
John, that question would be for me. I'm a ball guy up here. So I was 17 when they were playing, Rob, and these guys. Ray and I were talking, weren't we, Ray, walking into Memorial last night, and Ray's like, man, I wasn't even born, at that point. So we have great respect for all those guys that have played here. We understand that we represent them, and a lot of our alums and Illini Nation, and that is a tremendous privilege. It really is. So, that was great for these guys to interact with them. If anything, Rob, I think it was great for our guys to see how close they were. 25 years later, it's amazing, how close they are, and tells you a lot about that team. So I told, my wife, I said, I hope 25 years later that this team we have now, and I think they will be. We got a great group of guys that really play the game the right way and play the game together. That they'll have that same feeling towards one another that those guys did last night. That was pretty cool.
John, what does it signify that all 5 starters had 6 or more rebounds today?
No, I mean, that's just one of those things that we've been working on, the whole season. Coaches are always on us every day at practice, like I said earlier, just going hard against each other every day. It's just one of those things that we emphasize of, we obviously are trying to get, as many possessions as we can out of the game. So, I mean, we just have everyone either blocking out on defense or going to the offensive glass, just trying to get, extra possessions.
John, can you talk a little bit about the bench? Coach said they're coming on in practice a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about how those guys are progressing and how they played today?
I mean, yeah, they've been, just going hard the past, I'd say week or so. I mean, they've been, they've obviously, had a lot to learn whenever they first got here. But, I mean, they're coming along really well. All those guys are. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that, I mean, they're obviously, a lot of them freshmen, but, they're not freshmen anymore. They've played, now 2 Big Ten games. I mean, it's just one of those things that, they've all grown up, have gotten a lot better, and now they know, exactly what it takes to win.
Anything else for the players?
All right, questions?
Anybody asking to put on short pants after seeing the '89 team?
No, that's changed, Herb, a lot. You're exactly right. The attire, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I wear short shorts to practice, and those guys ask me, "The coach, when are you gonna get some long shorts?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna keep wearing these. They got pockets. I like pockets, Herb, and they're clearly above my knee. And you know what? I may look a little bit dorky, but I'm not into style points, Herb. That's for those guys."
Yeah, by the way, just the team didn't really lose their composure after the bench is clear. I think a lot of teams might come unraveled, but
yeah, that was Abrams a lot, and then the other guys chipping in. Tracy's been through a lot of wars. He really controlled that huddle there with his leadership and talking about poise and composure and finishing the game the right way, being mature, getting stops. He's just grown. It's well documented leaps and bounds as a leader, not only non-verbally, because he's always been a bulldog, but vocally. I thought he did a good job of that.
Particularly, he didn't score in the first half, but he was still a valuable guy.
Yeah, no question. That's a part of the growth process. I think maybe when I first got here, he would have tied some effort, being vocal, leading, to how things were going on. He'd be the first to tell you that on the offensive end, but he's too tough for that now. I mean, some of those guys are just too tough for that. So he's really grown up a lot in some of those areas.
John, how is Malcolm grading out on defensive positioning and footwork?
Really well. My gosh, the last 2 days the other guys practiced well too, but he was dynamite the last 2 days. So I went to him early, went a couple stints with him, came back to him in the second half. I thought he was really, really good. And once again, I thought his mind was right. I think he decided in the last couple days, like, hey, I got to play better. I'm better than this. And boy, did he turn it on. And, he got rewarded for that today with his play and minutes based on how he practiced. He practiced really well, and I thought he was a big part of, our success today.
What was going in was their guard play. Did you anticipate holding Newbill and Frazier Frazier 17 points and 1 assist. Over the course.
Definitely didn't. You know, those two guys are really, really talented. We've played, as you know, Marcus, against a lot of really talented guards, so that's been good in terms of, Missouri's guards, Oregon's guards, Barlow in Chicago, Farrell the other day. I mean, and there's others. I mean, we've played against some really, really good perimeters, and our guys did a good job on those two guys. Obviously Johnson got going a little bit off the bench for them. He's an explosive scorer. Their team's really good offensively. You look at them statistically in a lot of categories nationally. I mean, they were right up there with all the teams that we have played thus far. So we knew it was going to take a great effort. I think our guys really responded to that challenge well today.
John, you talked about being through 2 rounds of the 18. This has nothing to do with what happened, but it seemed, what kind of fighters are your guys here in the Big
Well, I mean, they obviously they're pretty tough. They fight, but again, it's not an automatic. Tomorrow when they wake up, they got to choose to be that way and do that again. I thought our preparation. I have unbelievable assistant coaches. In terms of how they connect with the players, and Ryan Peden and Parrish spent a lot of time obviously on this scout. Dustin did with Indiana and with Ryan assisting him, and then Jamal, same thing. I'll get over to the office and I'll have a folder for me on Wisconsin, and those guys sacrifice a lot of their time and efforts on getting us prepared and working with our players. So I'm really fortunate there, but we've got to continue to understand that that's a conscious choice that we make, and we've talked a lot about that. It's not an automatic. You don't flip it on. The one thing we want to do is we want to become habit forming, Jeremy, and I think it's obviously a lot further along than it was last year, and it should be. We've been here now a year and a half. Guys kind of know what we want in our culture and how we do things, and we got to continue to advance in that area.
I know we talk about toughness a lot, but can you just kind of talk about how it's becoming the culture of your program, that toughness on
Sure,
the
Taylor. Well, I think it starts with the players, obviously. I thought, ironically, Sam has been around a lot the last few days. Richardson's been around a little bit. Those guys, two guys that epitomize that. They passed that on, kind of saw what we were asking to get out of those guys from that perspective, with the toughness and the togetherness and how we wanted to play as a team. I thought we did that often last year. I think maybe we're doing a little bit more consistently this year, and I think a lot of that's just the growth process and maturation of some of the guys that are older that were here last year, and they're doing a really good job of demonstrating it through their actions as well as verbalizing it through their words. So we try to be as unflappable as we can be. We understand that you get thrown curveballs in life, you get thrown curveballs in a possession, in a game, in a season, and we want to make sure that we handle those with great toughness and great togetherness. We don't get too high, we don't get too low, and I think this year's team's done a really good job of that.
Just a follow-up on Hill. The last 4 games, he really didn't play much at all and didn't score at all. And what did you tell him after those games that you wanted to see more of from him?
To hang in there, number one, and number two, play better, and that to believe in himself. He's a talented young man, and he made the conscious choice. I tell him all the time, the greatest gift God gave us is the gift to choose, and he chose the last 2 days that he was going to be a monster in practice, and he played like that today, and got rewarded with more minutes, and I really liked his disposition today. Maybe going through that, my hope is Shannon, that makes him a little bit mentally tougher. And I thought that the last 2 days he practiced really well.
Can you talk a little bit about the rebounding by committee? Everybody seemed to go to the last rebound.
Yeah, that's our guys know, and I want that continue to be passed along to other classes. Like you have defensive and rebounding responsibilities here, regardless, if your name's Jim or John, just how it is. So I think those guys have kind of got it done by committee, and everybody knows everybody's got to chip in those 2 areas. No one's exempt from that. So I thought today was a prime example of everybody contributing on the backboard.
How special was it to wear the orange blazer today, with Lou in the house wearing the orange?
Yeah, no, it's always special to wear it. I've said all along, I think of Lou immediately. Last night when I had the privilege of introducing him at the banquet last night and the reunion dinner, and we've had, I guess it'd be 1,702 wins now as a program. I think there's only 12 college basketball programs that have ever done that, and Coach Henson had a hand in 423 of them. I mean, that's pretty special. So, obviously he's meant a lot to, I've said this, the university, Champaign, Urbana, our basketball program. And I really appreciate he and Mary's support from the moment I got here. They've been great, and it certainly made the transition easier and better for us.
You guys probably didn't know much about them. They weren't even born then. What did they take away from those guys being here?
I hope what I said earlier, that they saw last night how close those guys are collectively. A lot of those guys still spend time with one another still today, frequently. They're very, very close, very tight-knit, had each other's back. I think that was hopefully the number one lesson that they got out of it. And then I think number two, just the appreciation that those guys have for Illinois. They love Illinois. And we're leaving the court at halftime there, and they're all lined up, and they're all going bonkers, cheering our guys on. They love this place. And it's a special place, and I try to tell our guys all the time, do not take that for granted. It is a privilege to put on that uniform.
I noticed that after the game, all the players went over and shook hands with the members of the 88 and 89 team. Was that just a show of thanks and gratitude?
They did that on their own. I didn't tell them to do that until I didn't even know they did that. I had a chance to do it a little bit after the game as well, because I knew guys might be trying to get out of here with the potential inclement weather coming. But it's great those guys do that. That's I get letters all the time. I tell them all the time we want to be gentlemen off the court and nasty, tough dudes on the court. And I think these guys have exemplified that. I get letters all the time about stuff our guys do. It's pretty neat. So we've got good guys.
John, I know you haven't scouted them yet, but traveling to, a Big Ten heavyweight, Kohl Center, what's that going to tell you or us about the team?
Yeah, no, it's always a great challenge to play them. It's always a great challenge to play up there. We love challenges, though. Nothing's easy, certainly, in this league. They're very well coached. They're really gifted offensively. I've seen them play a couple different times. A little bit more unique offensively maybe than some of his other teams, with playing Decker at the 4. Kaminsky's had a breakout year. Their guard plays great. They don't beat themselves. They defend. There's a reason they're whatever they are, top 5 in the country, and undefeated at this point. They're very, very good. So, but we like challenges. You learn a lot about yourself when you play teams that require you to be that challenged. So we already have throughout the course of the year, and now we're looking forward to traveling up there and playing a really good basketball team.
Back to today, it was kind of an unusual game for Ray. He only had a single 2-point field goal. What accounts for that?
Well, I thought he drove the ball a couple times, Rob. I thought he tried to play it maybe for a foul rather than sticking the ball in the hoop, which he usually does that. So we'll take a look at it. But all in all, he was great on the defensive end. He was able to get to the free throw line. He had 7 boards. The great thing about Ray is he affects the game in multiple ways. That's why I think he's a great player. He can rebound, he can guard, he gets steals, he gets deflections, he can score in the 2-point area, he can make threes, he gets to the foul line. He's very, very versatile, is how we were describing him when you guys were asking about him early in the season, and that certainly held true. He's very, very versatile. He affects the game in multiple ways.
Anything else for Coach here?
Thanks, guys.